Welcome to episode 48 of the Reality Podcast. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and turn on those bells for all notifications. You know, I can't think of a damn thing to say to kick off the podcast here. I really don't. Oh, but I will say this though. Alexa Bliss's birthday was yesterday. Fuck Alexa Bliss. Fuck her. Fuck all her fans. Fuck her in general. People, the only talent that Alexa Bliss has is her mouth and the way she goes on her knees. That's it. Triggered, salty, mad, pissed off. I don't give a shit. Yee. We can all agree on the fact that the build towards SummerSlam has been completely fucking horrendous. But then again, there's people in this sick community that I'm in that's going to defend SummerSlam, that defends Raw on a weekly basis, hoping that they get noticed by a superstar on social media, looking for clout. If you are those kinds of people, please stay the fuck away from social media. Deactivate your Twitter account, deactivate your Instagram account, deactivate your Snapchat account. We don't like your kind here. All I want is for wrestling entertainment to be fun again. People think right now, the state of this company right now is fun. When you have a champion throwing pancakes and gyrating his ass off, that's not fun. It doesn't make you fun. For example, they try to make fucking Seth Rollins look cool with this whole Raw reunion thing that he did a couple weeks ago. And then from what I heard last week, No. I will go over the SummerSlam card when we go to the preview and predictions portion of the podcast, which will be later on. But I want to start the podcast with this piece of information here. Roman Reigns. Oh, Roman. That's for all those girls out there that fucking get their fucking pussies wet when they see Roman Reigns out there with his greasy hair. Roman Reigns doesn't care if WWE fans start booing him again. Oh, really, Roman? Oh, really? Like I said, folks, keep that same energy going. Keep it going. Roman Reigns' current SummerSlam program has been described by some fans as cartoonish. I love how JD said the Raggy Scooby-Doo. He called this whole Roman Reigns situation a fucking Scooby-Doo Mystery Inc. investigation. All you need is Fred, Velma, Daphne, Scooby. My God. Jesus Christ. He has survived one tragedy after another and keeps walking out unscathed. However, he's now upset enough to know this wasn't an accident. While speaking to Sport 1, Roman Reigns opened up about his feelings about the fans' opinion. They paid their money, so they want to... No, they paid their money, so if they want to start booing him again, then that's fine with him. Because everyone has a right to express themselves differently, yeah, depending who you talk to. All these people on Twitter with these Alexa Bliss AVIs and Roman Reigns AVIs and the fucking iconic pictures and shit. Please stay away from those kinds of people on social media. It's that simple. That's my advice to you guys. This is what Roman Reigns said, and I quote, "I don't care how they respond. They pay their money, their hard-earned money, to get to the show. Roman explained, they can do what they want to do. Everybody's situation is different, and we enjoy it every way our fans are expressing themselves. As long as you make noise, it doesn't matter to me if it's cheers or boos. The last thing I want is silence, fans sitting on their hands, or anyone want popcorn? That's bad for the performer. I've always had the ability to rub people one way or the other. As long as that continues, heavy cheers, polarizing reaction, heavy boos, I'm all for it. End quote. There's a big difference between expressing your feelings and trying to tear someone down. Or should I say tear someone down. I do it on social media on a daily basis. Do I give a fuck? No! Do you think Storms gives a fuck about that? No! No. I don't take people on social media serious. Especially if I don't know you. Especially if I don't know you. If I see something on social media, meaning Twitter, if I see something on Twitter that I don't like and I call you out on it, I call you out on it. If you don't like it, suck my dick. If you don't like it, suck my dick. I'm not scared to air my grievances on social media. I'm not scared at all. I'm not. That's just how I am. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Roman Reigns definitely understands this, which was evident by his comments about AEW. However, how the WWE Universe wants to react to him at this point is up to them, as long as they buy a ticket to the show. Roman Reigns says this now. Roman Reigns says this now. And there's another report on Roman Reigns that I'm going to read in just a second here. You think for 1 second Roman Reigns cares if the people boo him? He does. He does. He just doesn't want to bad talk the fans. His job is to sound as much positive as possible so it doesn't sound bad at the same time. Trust me. You people think that Roman Reigns doesn't care if people boo him? Believe me, he does. He does. Deep down in his inner soul, he cares. Believe me, he does. Wasn't there a report a long time ago when Roman Reigns said, "Oh, I'm already a heel"? Or was that Seth Rollins? I think that was Seth Rollins. But Roman Reigns said that a long time ago also. I think he said it around, 2015, 2016? I don't know. Depending. I don't know. It was a long time ago. Long time ago. But people... Roman Reigns cares if you boo him. He's just giving you guys a quick heads up. Oh, I don't care if you guys boo me. I don't care. When deep down in his soul, he does. Believe me, he does. Now, I'm going to follow that up with this other report here. Roman Reigns berates AEW for disrespecting the company's way of life. Company meaning World Wrestling Entertainment. Roman Reigns is going to defend World Wrestling Entertainment until the end, no matter how much AEW is throwing at them. While recently speaking to Sport 1, the big dog addressed AEW's disrespecting World Wrestling Entertainment. He said that he'll be damned if anyone is going to disrespect the company. He also has no problem stepping up if any current superstars don't feel like they want to handle business appropriately. He went on to explain that Seth Rollins was being generous when describing AEW as competition to WWE because World Wrestling Entertainment is his home. While he understands the territory mentality, World Wrestling Entertainment is still on top for a reason. This is what Roman Reigns said, and I quote, "I'll be damned if anyone is going to disrespect what we do here, especially within our company. If you're within our walls, within our locker room, and you're within... Hold on. If you're within our walls, within our locker room, and not handling your business the right way, I have no problem in stepping up. I fear no man, and if you don't like where I'm coming from, there's a couple of options we can do. I firmly believe in the history that my family has had in this business, the relationship they had with the McMahons, and World Wrestling Entertainment. And I'll be damned if everyone disrespects our way of life. I've been fed, and I fed my family for years now from this meal plan, and I'm not going to let anyone step on that. If that makes me a locker room leader, then yeah, you can call me that. I think Seth Rollins is being generous in calling them a competition. I don't want to get too deep into this. I said it before, it's an option, and that's great for professional wrestlers. Pretty cool for fans. Before my family was Wrestling Entertainment only, we've been a territorial family. You have to move, work with different promotions and territories. I'm always gonna be pro wrestler. But at the end of the day, Wrestling Entertainment is my home. It's what I represent, and we're so far ahead. You can see in other shows, it's not easy to have a clean production. You have to have a lot of experience. Our talent is top notch. We've got main eventers for days, but also it's our crew. They're busting their asses all night to get the show running. There are so many people that make this place work. When you see other people out there trying to do it, you see the flaws, and it makes you respect what we do even more. It's easy to complain and say this and this on paper, but when it's time to go out there and actually do it, nobody will do it like WWE, period, end quote. AEW might be making waves, but it doesn't seem to register the big dog's radar. He's all for other wrestlers having options and understands that fans have another option as well. But he's not about to admit that All Elite Wrestling is competition to WWE by a long shot. Roman Reigns. Now, obviously, you could tell here that Roman Reigns loves this business. You could tell Roman Reigns loves wrestling entertainment, but at the same time, Roman is just speaking good about wrestling entertainment. You think Roman Reigns for 1 second is going to admit that AEW is actually competition? Roman Reigns knows that AEW is competition. Just look at his buddy John Moxley. Excuse me. Just look at his buddy John Moxley. Dean Ambrose. He's in AEW. You think if Moxley was to never leave World Wrestling Entertainment, do you think Roman Reigns would be saying the shit that he said here? No. He wouldn't. He wouldn't. Now, I do commend Roman for saying, what did he say? He said that he understands that fans have other options as well. That's what the report says. The report says that he's all for other wrestlers having other options and understands that fans have other options as well. That's fine. If you want to have other options, there's other options. World Wrestling Entertainment is not for everybody. It's not clear for everybody. It's not. When you're in that company, it's either you sink or you swim. It's either you sink or you swim. You think Roman Reigns is going to bad talk Vince? You think Vince is going to bad talk World Wrestling Entertainment? The answer to that question is no. He's not going to. Vince is not going to back talk. No, Roman is not going to back talk World Wrestling Entertainment at all. Because that's the company right now that he's quote unquote on top. But then again, Roman's saying that AEW is no competition. You bet your ass AEW is competition to World Wrestling Entertainment. Because if that wasn't the case, if AEW is not competition to World Wrestling Entertainment, why is NXT being moved to Fox Sports 1 on Wednesday nights? Why is NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff happening on the same night as All Out? You bet your ass that's competition. What makes you think they put Evolve 10th anniversary show on the same night as Fight for the Fallen? Competition? You bet your ass it is. It's competition. It's competition. AEW is going to push in on World Wrestling Entertainment so far up their ass, they won't even know what to do. Right after. They won't even know what to do. I think Roman is just spewing number garbage. He doesn't want to bad talk Vince. He doesn't want to bad talk World Wrestling Entertainment because of the spot that he's in. Because of the spot that Roman Reigns is in. Yeah, AEW is no competition though, right? To all the casuals, to all the fucking degenerates out there that says, oh, AEW is nothing but a t-shirt company. They sold out All Out in 15 minutes. They sold out their first television show on TNT in just under 2 hours. They sold out a 20,000 seat arena in just under 2 hours. Mind you, AEW's first television show doesn't even have a full card yet. When AEW All Out tickets were on sale, half the card wasn't even announced yet. They only had 2 matches announced. Moxley versus Omega and Jericho versus Page for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Yet, to Roman Reigns, AEW is no competition to World Wrestling Entertainment. Keep that same energy, folks. Keep that same energy going until All Out. And if anything, keep that exact same energy going on October 2nd on Wednesday night on TNT. Keep it going. Keep it going. I wanted to start the podcast with those 2 pieces of information because it really triggered me to a certain point, because Roman is there saying that AEW is no competition, yet Rollins, according to what Reigns said, Rollins is being generous by saying AEW is competition. Being generous, that's probably Rollins' opinion. That's probably his opinion. So I wanted to start the podcast with those 2 pieces of information. But we're going to go over the remaining news that I have here. There will be no podcast tomorrow on Sunday because I have work in the morning. So, and on top of that, later on tonight, you guys are going to get NXT TakeOver Toronto review. And then tomorrow, you guys are going to get SummerSlam review and results tomorrow on Sunday after SummerSlam. As SummerSlam goes off the air, I will sit here and give you guys a review on SummerSlam. But if you guys don't know who I am, I'm your boy Chris. Thank you guys so much for tuning back into the channel on this Saturday, August 10th, 2019. Thank you guys so much for tuning back into the channel. If you guys are excited for NXT TakeOver Toronto tonight, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. What are you expecting tonight for TakeOver? It should be really, really good tonight. I'm excited. I can't wait. I need to know what Regal's third fall. I really do. I really want to know what Regal's third fall. It's going to be fucking crazy tonight, and I can't wait. And also, if you guys are new to the channel, if you guys are wrestling fans just like I am, be sure to show your support by hitting that subscribe button down below and turn on those bells for all notifications. Check out episode 47 of the Reality Podcast from yesterday, from Friday. Triple H on if there are plans in place after Vince McMahon retires from World Wrestling Entertainment. Also, I give you guys my preview and predictions for NXT TakeOver Toronto. Link to episode 47 of the podcast will be in the annotation above that you see on the upper hand corner of your screen. Check out NXT review from this past Wednesday. Killian Dane brutalizes Matt Riddle on a not bad episode of NXT. Link to NXT review will be in the annotation above that you see on the upper hand corner of your screen. Check out SmackDown review as well from this past Tuesday. Roman Reigns finds out who attacked him as if the forklift situation. We still don't know who was driving the car this past Monday Night Raw in Pittsburgh, but link to SmackDown review will be in the annotation above as you see on the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Be sure to follow me on social media. Twitter, Chris from Loring, and Snapchat, Chris was hated. And this is my schedule, my upload schedule. Monday Night Raw for Raw review on Monday. Tuesday night, SmackDown review. Wednesday night, NXT review. Thursday, Crash Team Racing. Nitro review. I know I've been slacking on Crash. I apologize. I have so much shit to do. I apologize. And Friday to Sunday, you guys will get episodes of the Reality Podcast right here on the channel. New to the channel, guys, show your support by hitting that subscribe button down below and turn on those bells for all notifications. Let's begin episode 48 of the Reality Podcast right here on the channel. We're going to kick off the podcast here with some news here. And the news, it is considering Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks reportedly ready for a WWE Return. I've said this on Money in the Bank. I have an itch on my leg. Give me a second here. I said this on Money in the Bank. And I said this on Extreme Rules. There were rumors going around about Sasha Banks coming back at Money in the Bank. Didn't happen. Extreme Rules. Didn't happen. Now, there's news going around saying that Sasha Banks could be back for SummerSlam. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. Sasha Banks has been seen in a ring since WrestleMania. It was at the time where she reportedly tried to quit the company, but they didn't let her. The Boss has been enjoying her time off from the company. She's not wasted a moment of her freedom. However, Brad Shepard reports on the All You Didn't Know podcast that Sasha Banks is ready to get back to work. Like I said, I believe it when I see it. I believe this when I see it. The biggest issue for planning a big return like Sasha Banks is finding the right moment for it to happen. This is something that the company is apparently trying to work out. This is what Brad Shepard said, and I quote here. I have once again been told that Sasha Banks' return is imminent. I'm told she's in good spirits and she's ready to return to WWE. They're waiting for the right moment to bring her back. I've been giving some speculation about what they might do, but nothing is set in stone, so I'm going to leave that to your imagination because I don't know what they're going to do yet. Again, they could decide on something they're going to do and change their mind that week or that night right before the fucking show starts. End quote. Sasha Banks could very well find herself fitting back into the company storyline after SummerSlam, but you never know what the company could be planning. You can also never predict when Vince will come in and hack up all the plans only to start from scratch. She's currently listed as a heel on the Raw roster backstage as well, so that is an interesting dynamic to consider as well. Now, I'm going to follow that particular story because there's more to this. If I can find that report from earlier that I was looking at. There was a report going around that Becky Lynch was talking shit to Sasha Banks, as in throwing shade, and I have it right here. Becky Lynch throws huge shade at Sasha Banks before SummerSlam. Now, this could be a clear-cut indication for Banks to come back and target Becky Lynch. Maybe Sasha, if she does come back and targets Becky Lynch, maybe Sasha could be Becky's next opponent for the very next pay-per-view, which is Clash of Champions on September the 15th. Becky Lynch just gave her opinion about Sasha Banks' recent break from World Wrestling Entertainment in a big, big way. The boss hasn't been seen since WrestleMania, but when Becky Lynch was asked if she would like to fight Sasha Banks during a Sky Sports Facebook Q&A, they didn't know what kind of answer that would bring from the man. This is what Becky Lynch said on this Sky Sports Facebook Q&A session, and I quote, "Oh yeah, if Sasha Banks could just hack it and she didn't grab her jacket and she's off crying like Ronda Rousey, then I'd love to face her. Unfortunately, she couldn't take losing. She lost the tag team championship and she was gone. She was gone. Some people can't hack losing. They can't step up and they can't realize it's just a chance to get better. It's a chance to learn and it's a chance to grow. Instead, she wants to talk about the freaking winds and the butterflies and the cocoons. And I'm a rabbit that's coming from the earth and the soil and whatever she wants to put on her little social media. Come fight me, Sasha, if you want it." End quote. You never know if this could be the fire that Sasha Banks needs to get back to action. We haven't seen her for a while, and that return could happen at any time now. After all, as long as she's still under the contract of World Wrestling Entertainment, she's not going anywhere. I can certainly see a Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch feud in the near future. I really can, because Sasha, last time I checked, Sasha's on Raw still. Bayley's on SmackDown because they broke up the Boss Hug connection due to the Superstar shakeup. But other than that, I really do think that if Sasha Banks comes back, she'll be on Raw. Meanwhile, that Becky is a heel. According to people, she's still a babyface. According to people, she's a babyface. If you're going to have Sasha Banks come back, she has to turn full-fledged heel. She has to. Because after Natty at SummerSlam for Becky Lynch, who else is Becky going to face? You got to have Sasha come back eventually. Or is Becky waiting for Ronda to come back? Because I'm going to sit here and assume, and yes, this will be in my predictions video. This will be in the preview and predictions portion, which I have in my mind here. I think Ronda will show up at some shape or form at SummerSlam on Sunday night, tomorrow night. I think Ronda will show up at some point. Does she come back? Probably. Do I think Sasha comes back? It's a possibility. Like I said, I'll believe it when I see it. Because Vince likes to right, change, scrap, start everything from scratch. Who knows what Vince wants for SummerSlam? Who knows? But at the end of the day, do I want Sasha back? Yeah, but then again, if she comes back, she's going to look like the only fucking hypocrite after everything that she's been saying ever since she's been gone. So, at the end of the day, if Sasha comes back, she comes back. But if she doesn't, then she doesn't. Do I miss Sasha Banks? Yeah, I do. I miss Sasha Banks. She's one of my favorite women wrestlers on the main roster. She's one of my favorites. I just want Sasha back for the right reasons and not for the wrong reasons. I want her back because she wants to come back. If she doesn't want to come back, then don't force her to come back. Simple. But if Sasha does come back, I would put her as a heel against Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. Speaking of not caring, because Vince doesn't give a fuck at all about the people that he's working with. WWE Superstars, Vince McMahon reportedly doesn't care for her. Get a load of this. Vince McMahon has a mind of its own and he does what he wants. This is the reason why he owns his own company where he's the chief decision maker. Brad Shepard reported on the OU Didn't Know podcast that there are a few main roster superstars who Vince McMahon doesn't care for. The short list includes the Viking Warriors, which is interesting because they keep getting fed enhancement talent, but it makes us wonder how far they will go if McMahon isn't on the side right now. This is what Brad Shepard said, I quote, according to a source in World Wrestling Entertainment, Vince McMahon doesn't care for the Viking Raiders, Sarah Logan, Ruby Riott, and the Lucha House Party. No particular reason. It's just Vince being Vince, I'm told. End quote. We previously reported that McMahon isn't the biggest fan of Ember Moon either. It's curious why McMahon would keep people on television if he doesn't like them. But he's made very interesting decisions in the past where business was being considered. You do realize that most of those people that I mentioned came from NXT. The Viking Raiders, listen, they were dead. They were dead on arrival. Big facts. Sarah Logan, she was part of the Riot Squad. She was never really a big part of that group. Ruby Riott, how can you not care about Ruby Riott? Ruby Riott is fantastic in the ring. Now that she's injured with a double shoulder surgery, I hope she comes back bigger and better. She won't come back to 2020. And the Lucha House Party, who gives a fuck about the Lucha House Party? Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck about the Lucha House Party? But I don't want to make this into a race thing because, I shouldn't even be thinking about that. But at the same time, Vince, and I said this on a podcast yesterday, episode 47, on the beginning part yesterday. Vince will only push women who's blonde, has big assets, and long legs. Look at Charlotte and look at Alexa Bliss. Two perfect examples. Why isn't it Vince pushing people like Sasha, Bayley, Ember Moon, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Ruby Riott, Mickie James, Nikki Cross? Well, technically, she's getting a push because she's with Alexa Bliss. I don't know. But the sooner Vince is out of power and the sooner Triple H is in control, the better it is. The better it is. I have news on Gargano here. Yeah, I have news on Gargano here. Johnny Gargano reveals interesting stat ahead of NXT TakeOver Toronto. While Johnny Gargano may have lost a bit of steam in recent months down in NXT, he's still one of the most exciting stars in all of the company, right now, and that much is obvious. With both Johnny Wrestling and his wife Candice LeRae being set to compete at NXT TakeOver Toronto this weekend, which is tonight, there's a good chance that this duo could walk away from TakeOver as one of the most accomplished couples in WWE, and they're only just getting started. As you can see, though, there's much more of it than that, with Gargano revealing a pretty interesting NXT-related stat that could see with the duo making history. This is what Gargano tweeted here, and I quote, "Every single match at TakeOver is a main event, and I personally can't wait for Candice versus Io to straight up tear it down. I also believe this makes us the first married couple to perform on the same TakeOver." Pretty freaking cool. Good. That's good for Gargano, man. Listen, I love Gargano and I love Candice LeRae. But I said this on my NXT TakeOver preview and predictions. I think both Gargano and Candice will lose their matches at TakeOver. Will lose their matches at TakeOver. Now, there was another piece of information here. Gargano's medical condition before NXT TakeOver Toronto. Now, people are saying that he's hurt. I don't know. Gargano is set to take on Adam Cole in an NXT TakeOver Toronto match tonight, where the betting odds say Dave Meltzer will give it 5 stars. Therefore, those two have a lot to live up to. But will Gargano be ready? Johnny Wrestling has gone through a lot of abuse, and he's been sitting out of the ring for a little recently. Therefore, Triple H addressed his condition during a recent teleconference. This is what Triple H said on that conference, and I quote, "He's fine without me getting into medical details of people because I can't. It was a little lingering thing that if those one of those funny things that in the athlete world you go. This is sort of nothing. It is just one of those little things where I was like, let's take you all some stuff, even though you're fine, because I don't want this to become something more than it is. It's cleared up and he's totally fine. It's just one of those things, one of those little things that you don't want to take a risk of becoming something more than it is. Not because it's a serious thing that could be career threatening or anything like that, but just because then if you do get to the point, now you do have to take a significant period of time off to get this thing to shut down totally, to be able to have it heal 100%. It was more precautionary than it is anything else, but I would rather take that precaution now than have it become something more down the line," end quote. Gargano will have a tough night ahead of him tonight against Adam Cole, because in the 12-3 Falls match, we're guaranteed to at least have a street fight in Toronto. I think Gargano's fine. Whatever Gargano was dealing with, he's obviously taking care of it. Triple H has taken him out of recent NXT live events because he's just taking it as a precaution. This is how Triple H takes care of his guys and girls. Triple H cares. If Triple H sees something wrong with you, he's going to pull you out as a precautionary thing. Because that one thing, the littlest thing, can become the biggest situation. Just look at Ciampa, for example. Look at Ciampa. Ciampa has been having neck problems and shit for the past couple of months leading in the NXT TakeOver New York. Ciampa pulled Hunter aside and said, "Listen, I think something's wrong. Pull me out of TakeOver. I'll relinquish the championship. Let me have the next surgery, and I'll be back in no time." I think Ciampa does show up at some point tonight. But in regarding talking about Gargano, I think he's fine. Whatever he's dealing with, I think he's perfectly fine. And he'll be delivering another 5-star classic Mr. Johnny Wrestling version on TakeOver tonight, which I will be specifically happy on. But let's see what happens tonight. Let's see what happens tonight with Johnny Gargano. I think he'll be just fine going into TakeOver tonight. Details on WWE's plan to make NXT a live 2-hour FS1 show. This scares me. No cap, this scares me. Worst Entertainment's deal with Fox has opened the door for them to move NXT to FS1. Now we know even more details about that move. NXT has been on Wednesday nights for a very long time on the WWE Network. This was something that Triple H made sure to announce during his teleconference call just around that time. He also wanted to make the point that if anyone is counter programming on Wednesday nights between them and AEW, then NXT clearly had the spot first. The Wrestling Observer newsletter noted that NXT is set to be a 2-hour show on FS1. This is a bad move, my honest opinion. This Wednesday night show is slated to air between 8 and 10 p.m. However, it's not know how Big East basketball might eventually affect that. This is what Dave Meltzer said, and I quote, "While not announced, the NXT on FS1 is televisively set for 8-10 p.m. on Wednesday nights for obvious reasons. That is the time slot expected, but this was the first info we were given listing a time slot. Of course, it wasn't going to be finalized until TNT announced the time slot." End quote. It's also an idea to make this a live show compared to the previous tape format because it will not work to head off AEW if it's still being taped. I'll give you guys my opinion on this in just a second. WWE also feels as though they have the advantage of AEW because they have a lot more talent than they can shuffle between shows that have appeared on FS1, such as main roster superstars. No. The idea is to continue at Full Sail University for now, but that crowd might get tired for showing up every week, so they might tape it or tour with it. It was also said that this deal was largely agreed to in late June or early July. I said this numerous times. NXT has to stay 1 hour. It has to stay 1 hour. Now I'm hearing rumblings. I don't know if this is true or not. I'm going to take this with a grain of salt until something happens. I am hearing if NXT is being moved to Fox Sports 1, Vince will be in charge of NXT. Vince being in charge for NXT alone kills the dynamic of NXT. Absolutely kills it. Kills it. It absolutely kills the dignity and the respect of NXT. Absolutely kills it. Now, take it what you must, take it with a grain of salt until something is being announced. But with this whole NXT moving to Fox Sports 1, in the very beginning, I was okay with this. NXT is going to compete with AEW. Triple H is going to let NXT do his talking for him as they compete with All Elite Wrestling. Now, with this whole main roster stars moving to NXT, don't do it. This is a bad move. You want NXT to compete with All Elite Wrestling. You keep it the way NXT is being built. You keep it the way it is. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't fix it. Let Triple H do his job as the CEO of NXT and the COO of WWE. Let Triple H run NXT the way he sees fit. The way he sees fit. Because I guarantee you, if you put matches on NXT and you put them on the main roster, it will get over. It will immediately get over, and it will immediately draw interest for NXT. The only positive thing about this is that NXT being moved to Fox Sports 1 is more exposure. You got to have exposure, right? You want to grow your brand. You got to have exposure. You got to have exposure. That's the only positive about this. Other than that, you're going to have Vince take over NXT and have his main roster goons go to NXT. For what? For what? For what? Triple H is going to tell Vince, your main roster guys suck. Let NXT take over, literally and figuratively. Have NXT take over the entire company and let Triple H take over that he sees fit to a point where AEW is competition to NXT. It's just that simple, folks. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. So if I'm anything else, I would have them out of NXT drove the first shot at AEW. That's my honest opinion. Speaking of Triple H and NXT moving to Fox Sports 1, Triple H exuberantly avoids question about NXT moving to Fox Sports 1. We previously reported companies plan to move NXT to Fox Sports 1 and make it a 2-hour live show. Triple H wasn't game to talk about it though. During his teleconference with the media, Triple H was asked about the possibility of splitting NXT into 2 shows. One would stay on the network while the other moves to Fox Sports 1. He really didn't seem eager to let anyone know what was going on, but he did give a lot of hints that they were talking about a number of possibilities. This is what Triple H said, and I quote here. There's always planning. There's always a changing landscape. There's always the eternal discussion where content goes is constant, right? We look at this kind of wheel of options and distribution that we have across all platforms, whether that be television or platforms like that being a part of that world, whether to be a Facebook or something like that, or USA or Fox. There's our digital presence, as you know, 1 billion social media followers, number 1 for sports, number 2, I think, overall now on the world, out of anything on YouTube. So digital or VOD, our network, the direct to consumer. There's this big wheel, so where you put content at all times is the constant debate. How much content, what content, we're constantly working on it. There's plans, over the short run, and there's plans in the long run, but it's constantly being evaluated. When it comes to NXT, the reason I speak cryptically about it is because there's a lot of exciting thoughts and ideas out there. We're constantly debating on an EBB, on an EBIT, and flow on where things go and land. And I think there's a lot of thought that goes into all of it because they all affect each other. And you'd want to put the right amount of stuff on each piece of the wheel to make sure that you're getting the maximum out of all of them. End quote. This move to Fox Sports 1 could be a big deal for NXT superstars that they find a much larger audience. It will also be very interesting to see how they arrange it with the current network reincarnation of NXT. Triple H did not want to make it very clear that if anything, AEW is counter-programming NXT because they were there first. Either way, Triple H certainly gave a lot of hints that World Wrestling Entertainment is making plans, so we should know the extent of those once they're ready to drop some official plans on the public. I think as a wrestling fan for over 20 years, I think Triple H not talking about NXT going to Fox Sports 1, I think there's a hint saying that it's possible. But you think Triple H wants Vince to take over NXT? No. Well, why would you split 2 shows? One on the network and one on Fox Sports 1. That's too much. Keep it the way NXT is. Everybody does not have to be featured on NXT. That's what makes NXT so special. That's what makes NXT so fucking special. Is that not everybody's featured every single week. Unlike Raw and SmackDown, where everybody's featured every single week, NXT is not featured every week. We haven't seen, for example, we haven't seen Adam Cole on NXT TV in a couple of weeks. We haven't seen Gargano on live TV since they announced the fucking falls for TakeOver Toronto. We haven't seen both those men on an NXT ring. We haven't seen Velveteen Dream in almost 3 weeks. I'm okay with that. We haven't seen Damian Priest in almost 2 weeks. Almost 2-3 weeks. I'm okay with that. You don't have to feature men like that on a weekly basis. Because once you see them every single week, they get tired of it and then they become boring. For example, Ricochet on the main roster. He was special in NXT. Whenever Ricochet shows up, you know there's a big match ahead. But now Ricochet on the main roster every single week, he's boring. He's boring. He's ordinary. And he's starting to become uninteresting in me seeing him on the main roster. And that's sad to say. That's sad to say. I think now, not thinking about it now, NXT moving to Fox Sports 1, I think it's a bad move. I think it's a bad move. And like I said on the previous report, if it ain't broke, don't fucking fix it. If it ain't broke, folks, don't fix it. Don't fix it whatsoever. WWE, this company has a whole bunch of fucking changes going around here. Warriors Entertainment could be planning a big feud for NXT call-up. Okay. WWE has plenty of people in NXT that the company could call up. It seems like that time could be coming soon for one Shayna Baszler. Becky Lynch might be running into an issue where she doesn't have anyone to face, although Sasha Banks could always return to make a big splash. At SummerSlam, nothing is written in stone. Tom Calhoun says that Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler is a match that he expects to see sooner than you think. Therefore, it seems as though this match could be in the pipeline. This is what Tom Calhoun said, and I quote, "Oh, we're definitely going to see Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler, and I'm confident it'll be sooner than you think," end quote. If Shayna Baszler does debut sometime after SummerSlam, then it only makes sense that she be placed in the main event spot. We have to see how the company is able to work everything out, but even if Baszler is involved in the NXT storyline, that doesn't mean she's exempt from getting a main roster call-up, as we've seen with few superstars get the same treatment in the past. If Shayna Baszler is getting called up, it's only a matter of time that we're getting 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen. Now, if you're going to do this 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen thing, you're going to do it as Survivor Series in Chicago. You're going to do it as Survivor Series in Chicago. Especially with this whole AEW effect. You're going to bring up Shayna Baszler. Ronda is already on the main roster. You put Shayna probably on Raw. Or as a matter of fact, you could put Shayna, Jessamine Duke, and Marina Shafir on Monday Night Raw. You put them on Raw. You put all of them on Monday Night Raw. Or if you want, you could put Shayna and Ronda on Raw. And you put Marina Shafir, and Jessamine Duke on SmackDown Live. Because you have Becky and Sasha on Raw. And you got Bayley and Charlotte on SmackDown. So you got to even it out. One, you got to even it out. 2, you put Shayna versus Becky because Becky has some heat against Ronda. So if Ronda's not there, who's going to fill up Ronda's shoes until she comes back? Shayna Baszler. Shayna's a whole lot better than Ronda, in my honest opinion. Shayna can talk on the microphone. She's great in the ring. Ronda, as of late, since during this WrestleMania run, during this WrestleMania season, Ronda has improved on the microphone. She's improved. In the beginning, she sounded forced. She knew how to cut a promo. Now, as she's working with the likes of Paul Heyman, now she's starting to improve on the microphone. We haven't seen Ronda since WrestleMania, but I think Ronda will come back tomorrow at SummerSlam. I think she will. But Shayna being called up, I think it's the right time. But at the same time, what happens at TakeOver tonight if she retains the NXT Women's Championship? Does she get called up with the NXT Women's Championship? Or does she have to do the same thing that Asuka did? Asuka got called up to the main roster and had to relinquish the NXT Women's Championship, which I think they'll go down that route. Shayna will probably retain, and then she'll get the call up to the main roster, and then she'll have no choice but to relinquish the NXT Women's Championship. I think that's almost likely will happen. Now, Devin, if you're watching Devin, he sent me this report on Wrestling Entertainment, very interested in buying Fight TV. I wonder why. I wonder why. WWE very interested in buying Fight TV. Now, there's 2 reports on this, and then I'll do the SummerSlam preview and predictions portion of the podcast. Fight TV is a destination for plenty of fans for boxing, MMA, pro wrestling, and plenty of other sports. They are a streaming service that is only growing in popularity, and the company known as World Wrestling Entertainment wants them. StarCast 3 is set to air on Fight TV during the final weekend of the month, and if you can sign up now, then you get StarCast 1 and 2 as part of the package. This is a pretty sweet deal, but the company might want to buy them out, according to Wrestling Observer newsletter. It is reported that the company, known as World Wrestling Entertainment, had recent talks with Fight TV to the point where the meanings of coming regarding it. It isn't clear what this means, but it could always lead to something. This is what Dave Meltzer, I'm going to assume, said this, and I quote, "What that would mean isn't clear, as could they just own it, thinking it's a good future business and have it run separately, or incorporate it into a higher tiered network," end quote. If World Wrestling Entertainment could buy out Fight TV, it would certainly put a lot of indies in a hard situation, including Impact Wrestling, MLW, and Ring of Honor, because they all use the service to air programming. Other smaller indie feds also use the service as well as StarCast. I wonder why Vince wants to buy out Fight TV. Now, I'm going to plug in that report with the other one that I have here, which would be the last news article before I go with the SummerSlam preview and predictions. Fight TV responds to report of World Wrestling Entertainment buying them out. So Fight TV respond to the report. World Wrestling Entertainment is looking to create the best possible climate for them to continue prospering, and buying Fight TV might be a very big move to accomplish that. We previously reported via the Wrestling Observer newsletter that World Wrestling Entertainment is very interested in buying Fight TV. Of course, this is the same streaming home as StarCast and a host of other indie wrestling events. Fight TV obviously heard this report and said answer back, and they answered back saying that there is no such discussions ongoing with World Wrestling Entertainment despite the report. This is what Fight TV obviously said. No worries, Fight is here to stay, and no, we're not in M&A discussions with WWE, end quote. If negotiations are still in the preliminary stages, then it would stand to reason that Fight TV would deny them. It's still interesting that they were very upfront about this report, as they adamantly rejected this premise as a whole. Vince wants to buy Fight TV for the fact of the AEW effect. If you don't believe that the AEW effect is real, you are a fucking delusional fuck. It is fucking real, folks. The AEW effect, folks, it's real. It's very motherfucking real. Believe me when I say that. Don't have people sit there and tell you, oh, the AEW effect is not real. It doesn't exist. It exists, folks. It really fucking does. That is it, guys, with the news portion of the podcast. Now we're going to go over the NXT. Well, not NXT. I did it yesterday. SummerSlam preview and predictions. Now, before anything, I want to give out my top 10 greatest SummerSlam matches of all time. Number 10, I have Taker versus Mankind in a Boiler Room Brawl from SummerSlam 96. Number 9, Shawn Michaels versus Vader for the World Wrestling Federation Championship at SummerSlam 96. That's the exact event. Number 8, Brock versus Taker, SummerSlam 2015. Number 7, Triple H versus The Rock in a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship, SummerSlam 98. Number 6, TLC 1, Edge and Christian, Dudley Boys Hardys, SummerSlam 2000. Number 5, Brock versus Punk, SummerSlam 2013. Number 4, Triple H versus Shawn Michaels in the unsanctioned match from SummerSlam 02. Number 3, Taker versus Brett for the title, SummerSlam 97. Number 2, Taker versus Stone Cold, SummerSlam 98 for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. And number 1, my number 1 SummerSlam match of all time, Brock versus Rock for the Undisputed Championship in SummerSlam 2002. I will leave my top 10 greatest SummerSlam matches down below in the description. And by the way, this is Jessica's, babe, if you're watching, this is Jessica's NXT TakeOver Toronto predictions. This is Jessica's preview and predictions for TakeOver Toronto for tonight. Io versus Candice, Mia versus Shayna, Dream over Dunn and Strong, Street Profits over Undisputed Era, and Gargano over Cole. And her third fall prediction is a steel cage. Now, also, Jessica's SummerSlam predictions, Bay's SummerSlam predictions are Charlotte over Trish, Ziggler over Goldberg, Ricochet over Styles, Wyatt over Balor, KO over Shane, Orton over Kofi, Bayley over Ember, Lynch over Natty, and Rollins over Lesnar. So there you go. So there you go. Now this is my SummerSlam preview and predictions. We're going to talk about SummerSlam to end off the podcast here. Now, I'm not going to do this based on match order because, A, I don't give a shit about SummerSlam. I'm just there to watch it, review it, and then from there, that's about it. Drew Gulak versus Oni Lorcan for the Cruiserweight Championship. I got Drew Gulak retaining. Drew Gulak has been amazing on 205 Live. I've heard great things about Drew Gulak, but Oni Lorcan, he's much more needed in NXT, especially with the tag team division. It's going to look weak when the Street Profits get called to the main roster. They need Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan built up as a legit tag team. If anything, when Undisputed Era wins the NXT Tag Team Championship, I got Danny Burch and Oni Lorcan taking the titles away from Undisputed Era. I really do. That's my honest opinion. I got Drew Gulak retaining the Cruiserweight Championship over Oni Lorcan. Trish Stratus versus Charlotte Flair. Now, this is one of the matches on the card that I'm looking forward to out of just a few. I got Charlotte winning over Trish because a victory for Trish over Charlotte is not going to do anything for Trish. It's not going to do anything the next night. At the end of the day, Trish is going to go back home after SummerSlam, while Charlotte is going to continue being, quote-unquote, one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. If anything, I have Charlotte winning over Trish because once Charlotte beats Trish, it's only a matter of time before Charlotte gets another championship match against, most likely, Bayley. Or unless if, God forbid, Ember Moon wins the championship, and then going on Tuesday for SmackDown Live, we get Charlotte beating Ember for the SmackDown Women's Championship before Clash of Champions on September 15th. Knowing that could possibly happen. But I got Charlotte beating Trish on this one-on-one match. I think this match will be good. Give these women 10 to 15 minutes. It'll be a fantastic match. I got Charlotte winning over Trish. Goldberg versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, this is just going to be a squash, in my honest opinion. This is going to be a squash. I got Goldberg winning over Ziggler. Ding, ding, ding. Spear, jackhammer, 1, 2, 3. Bill Goldberg wins. That's about it. Ricochet versus AJ Styles for the U.S. title. I know Bay will kill me if I don't go for Ricochet, but logically, I got AJ retaining. Simple fact is because you had Ricochet beat Samoa Joe on Stomping Grounds for the U.S. title. And what many people say was the match of the night between Ricochet and Samoa Joe. Ricochet held the title for only 3 weeks, lost it at Extreme Rules to AJ Styles. How would it look if you have AJ beat Ricochet for the U.S. title at Extreme Rules, only for Ricochet to win back the championship at SummerSlam? You're hot potato in the championship, and that's something you don't want to do. So by default and by logic, I got AJ retaining the title over Ricochet. And then I like what TM said. After Ricochet's lost to AJ, Ricochet should be going against Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. I like it. I think I would have Ricochet next in line for Brock Lesnar. I think I would. And on top of that, Brock works better with the smaller guys. Just look at his match against Punk. Look at his match against AJ. Bryan, Rollins. Brock can deliver a great match if you give him a smaller opponent. That I will give them. Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt, The Fiend. I got Bray Wyatt winning this in squash domination fashion. Ding, ding, ding. Sister Abigail, 1, 2, 3. And then from there, Balor will go on his hiatus and then comes back by Survivor Series. So there you go. I got Balor losing to Wyatt. KO versus Shane in a singles match. I don't know why they didn't put this in I Quit match. If Owens loses, he will quit the WWE. You think for 1 second Kevin Owens is going to be booed on his home country? No. No. I think KO will win this match here. I don't think KO is quitting. Shane, I don't want to see Shane anymore after SummerSlam. I really don't. I don't want to see Shane McMahon anymore after SummerSlam. So I got KO winning over Shane. And then from there, we all know Shane is going to be back on SmackDown Live as if nothing even happened to him. So I have KO winning over Shane McMahon. Kofi Kingston defending the coveted WWE Championship against Randy Orton. In my honest opinion, this match will be the match of the night. In my honest opinion, this match will be the match of the night. Now, I forgot to mention this earlier. When it was the Charlotte Flair versus Trish Stratus prediction, I got Charlotte winning. Charlotte is 3-0 at SummerSlam. 3-0. 3-0. She'll be 4-0 come SummerSlam. Now, Orton versus Kofi for the WWE Championship. This is a stat that I did not know. I want to give you guys a stat here about Randy Orton. Superstars with the most wins at SummerSlam. Brett has 7. Orton has 7. If Orton becomes the next WWE champion tomorrow night at SummerSlam, he will tie Triple H and Edge for second for the most victories in SummerSlam history. Do you guys want to know who has the most wins in SummerSlam history? The Undertaker has the most wins in SummerSlam history with only 10. So if Orton wins, right now he is tied with Bret Hart with 7 wins. If he becomes the next WWE champion tomorrow night at SummerSlam, he will tie Edge and Triple H for second with 8. Tie for second for the most wins at SummerSlam history. I did not know that stat until I saw it on Instagram. Like, oh shit, Orton has 7 wins. Now, Orton at SummerSlam has championship victory history. Orton won the championship. He won the World Heavyweight Championship at the 2004 SummerSlam in Toronto, in the exact same building. The exact same building where he beat Chris Benoit and became the youngest World Heavyweight Champion in WWE history. Keep this in mind. Then, 2011, Staples Center in Los Angeles. He beat Christian to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. And then SummerSlam 2013, just 2 years later, Orton cashed in Money in the Bank and defeated Daniel Bryan to become the new WWE Champion. Orton, this feud has been fantastic. The build to this match between Kofi and Orton has been fantastic, dating back to 2009. The simple fact that it brung up 2009 got me invested in this feud. Love it. Love it. If I'm Vince right now, you have to think about October on Fox, on SmackDown Live. You just have to. Now, many people will say Kofi will go over Orton. If you think Kofi will go over Orton, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Because I asked this question. Hey, teacher, I have the question to your prediction about Kofi going over Orton. If Kofi goes after Orton, no. If Kofi goes over Orton at SummerSlam, who does Kofi face next at Clash of Champions? I just want to know. If Kofi goes over Orton at SummerSlam, who does Kofi face at Clash of Champions in September? If you want to end the inevitability, do it now. Do it now. If you want Kofi's tolerance to end, do it tomorrow night. Because I don't expect Kofi to go into October on Fox, on that first show on Fox, as your WWE champion. I don't. I don't want a champion throwing pancakes, putting pancakes down his fucking belt, and gyrating his ass off. That's not my champion. Orton, in my honest opinion, he's one of the greatest champions of all time. Of all time. Of all time. I think Orton will beat Kofi and become the next WWE champion as SmackDown goes to Fox in October. Because again, I gotta ask, if Kofi beats Orton at SummerSlam clean, how are you gonna get the title off of Kofi at Clash of Champions in September? I ask, how? How are you gonna be able to pull that off? If anything, you change the title at SummerSlam tomorrow night. So I got Orton over Kofi. Orton will become the new WWE champion. Bayley versus Ember Moon for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I got Bayley. It's just that simple. Ember Moon. Listen, I love Ember Moon in NXT. She was amazing. But now, ever since she's been in the main roster, she's been nothing but an afterthought. I got Bayley retaining the SmackDown Women's Championship just by default. By default. And then, when Bayley retains and then Charlotte beats Trish, we'll get Charlotte versus Bayley probably at Night of Champions. No, Night of Champions. At Clash of Champions for the SmackDown Women's Championship where Charlotte becomes a 9-time Women's Champion. I gotta puke. I rather puke. Becky Lynch versus Natalya in a submission match for the Raw Women's Championship. Just know, Bayley, no, just know, not Bayley. Just know, Becky will be booed in this match. She will. Because Natty is from Canada. And who's her uncle? Bret the Hitman Hart. Now, I think Natalya will come close to winning, but she won't win it. So the fact that Becky is holding the Raw Women's Championship most likely for Ronda Rousey. Or unless if they really bring up Shayna and they have Shayna go over Becky and have Shayna become the next Raw Women's Champion. I don't know. But I think this match will be good. Oh yeah, and by the way, give Kofi and Randy 20 minutes. A classic. 20 minutes, it'll deliver a classic. Becky versus Natty, give them 10 to 15 minutes, it'll be a good match. It'll be a good match. I got Bayley. No, I keep thinking about Bayley. Jesus Christ. I was watching NXT TakeOver Brooklyn with Sasha and Bayley for the NXT Women's Championship in one of the greatest women's matches I've ever seen. So my apologies for saying Bayley so far twice in a matter of like 30 seconds. I apologize. I got Becky retaining over Natty. Probably I will have Ronda show up at some way, shape, or form at SummerSlam. I really would. Because they've been name dropping Ronda this whole entire feud, knowing that Natty trained Ronda. So there you go. I got Becky retaining over Natty for the Raw Women's Championship. Finally, guys, this is my main event. No matter what, this is my main event. Either way, I mean, honestly, you could have put Randy versus Kofi in the main event because nobody cares about Rollins and Lesnar. We've seen this at WrestleMania. How many times have we seen this match? We've seen this match at WrestleMania, and then we're going to see it again at SummerSlam. We've seen it at WrestleMania. We've seen it at Extreme Rules. Now we're going to see it at SummerSlam. If I was to put the main event for SummerSlam, I'm putting Orton versus Kofi in the main event of SummerSlam. Because that's the one match that everyone else is invested in. Nobody cares about Rollins and Lesnar. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Rollins and Lesnar for the Universal Championship. Rollins has been made into a bigger bitch than what Alexa Bliss is. And that's sad. And that's sad. There's no other way here. There really isn't. Either Brock retains the title, or if Rollins wins, I'm going to completely shit all over this. Because if you're going to have Rollins win the championship tomorrow night, then A, the matchup with Lesnar at WrestleMania should have never happened. Rollins should have at least win the Money in the Bank. Because, think about it this way. If Rollins, let's say for example, if Rollins wins the Universal Championship tomorrow, you know how stupid that would be? You gotta date back to the Rumble. Rollins, if you're gonna have Rollins win the Universal title tomorrow at SummerSlam, Rollins should have never won the Rumble. Rollins should have never beat Lesnar at WrestleMania. Then you gotta think about it. Lesnar should have never won Money in the Bank. Lesnar would have still been Universal Champion coming into SummerSlam. I would have Rollins win Money in the Bank, or Ali win Money in the Bank. I would have Ali go after the WWE Championship. I would have Rollins become the number one contender, and then have Rollins beat Lesnar then at SummerSlam. I ask, if Rollins wins the Universal Championship, everything that you built Rollins on, from the Rumble all the way to Extreme Rules, gone. Nothing. Was all for nothing. I got Lesnar retaining the Universal Championship. But then again, I gotta ask another question. If Lesnar retains the Universal Championship, who is even built up enough to face Brock for the Universal Championship and look legitimately good enough to beat Brock for the Universal Championship? I don't know. But I will say this though. Rollins, if he loses at SummerSlam, you got to turn him heel. You just have to. You just have to turn Rollins heel. At this point, you just have to. That's the only way. That's the only way that's gonna save Seth Rollins in 2019. You have him turn heel. You already saved him. You saved him. It's just that who's gonna care about this matchup? I'm not. I know you guys are not gonna care. But honestly, I got Lesnar retaining the Universal Championship. And then from there, who takes the title off of Brock remains to be seen. No one knows. So I'm going to go over my predictions again. Drew Gulak will retain the Cruiserweight title. I got Charlotte over Trish. Goldberg versus Dolph. AJ versus Ricochet. Wyatt over Balor. KO over Shane. Orton over Kofi. Bayley over Ember Moon. Becky over Natty. And Brock over Rollins. And that, folks, is the reality of things. And that is it for episode 48 of the Reality Podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the podcast, leave a thumbs up. Hit the like button as hard as you possibly can. Let's get this video to at least 8 to 10 likes on the video. Leave a comment down below. What are your predictions for SummerSlam and for TakeOver as well? And if you guys are new to the channel and you're a wrestling fan just as big as I am, be sure to show your support by hitting that subscribe button down below and turn on those bells for all notifications. Episode 47 of the podcast, live on the channel right now, as well as NXT review and SmackDown Live review as well, live on the channel. Guys, follow me on social media, Twitter, Chris from Roaring, and Snapchat, Chris Potato, and this is my whole entire schedule. Monday, Raw review, Tuesday, SmackDown review, Wednesday, NXT review, Thursday, Crash Team Racing, Nitro Fuel, Road to Glory, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you guys are going to get episodes of the Reality Podcast, and I'll see you guys later on tonight for NXT TakeOver Toronto review. I cannot wait for a TakeOver. It's going to be fucking amazing. I cannot wait for a TakeOver. I am Chris. Guys, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share the video all over social media. I'll see you guys later on tonight for NXT TakeOver Toronto. Until then, I am Chris. Talk to you guys later.